Good evening, meteorologist Bob Acanfrio with today's tropical update for Saturday, August 25th, 2012. Well, we continue to track Tropical Storm Isaac, latest 5 p.m. Advisory. We have maximum sustained winds 60 miles an hour, movement to the northwest at 21, center location 21.3 north, 76 west. Just kind of hugging right now the northeastern coast here, northern coast of Cuba. I'm going to show you that on a satellite view. Latest track by the National Hurricane Center, a little bit shift to the west here in the near term track in the next 24 hours to 36 hours. A little better news for southeast Florida on that track, and I'll show you why they've shifted it a little bit. The rest of the track has basically stayed the same. You can see the wide spread here in the cone of uncertainty here as we get to the Gulf Coast. Large spread here because the models are basically through this entire cone right now. And that's really where the uncertainty lies in the forecast. My official track is still a little to the east of the official National Hurricane Center track. I'm still near Apalachicola, Florida as its eventual landfall. And I'm still sticking to that track. Just to note, as we know with these storms, the worst side of the system is going to be on the east side. So landfall to the east is going to be the worst side of this system. So even though this track has shifted, this is for South Florida now, even though this track may have shifted a little farther to your west, you'll still be on the east side. And definitely starting tomorrow, the tornado threat will be on the eastern side of this system. Expect tornado watches to go up across South Florida tomorrow. All right, real quickly, new tropical storm watch we have here along the west coast. We're from Swanee River all the way down to Tarpon Springs here. This includes the Tampa area. You're on the tropical storm watch right now. Hurricane warnings still from, let's see here, we're from Bonita Beach southward to Ocean Reef. And then on the east coast of Florida, we have tropical storm, hurricane, where am I here? There's a hurricane watch on the Florida east coast, right, from Golden Beach southward to Ocean Reef. So that's right here. And then we have our hurricane warning throughout the Florida Keys here. Then we have tropical storm warnings along the Florida east coast from Sebastian Inlet to Ocean Reef. That's right in here. That includes Lake Okeechobee. And as you move up the east coast here, we have tropical storm watch from Sebastian Inlet up to Flagler Beach. So that's what we have our watches and warnings covered right now. There's also a hurricane watch here for the Abaco Islands here in the Bahamas right in here. Okay, so this is where we are now. I'm going to kind of show you what I think is going to happen here in the next 24 hours as it approaches the Florida Keys here and then from beyond. Looking at the visible loop right now, this is the latest one here, and you can see just starting to pop. It's right along the, still fairly disorganized here, but let me tell you, we've seen systems come across Haiti, come across eastern Cuba, and just die. Isaac's pretty large, thus it's pretty much holding its own. So that should tell you what's going to happen down the road here with Isaac, and it could become a potent storm here in the eastern Gulf. So definitely holding its own. Center just right along the northern coast here of Cuba. You can see some deeper convection trying to develop here on the eastern side. And it's kind of a large area here. It's kind of wrapped in. There's another vorticity max here within this larger low pressure system here near the Cayman Islands here between Jamaica and Cuba. And it's kind of rotating around, if you just watch it, around this whole area here. So what does that tell you? Well, we could just look at the cloud mass ahead of it, and Isaac may just hug the coast of Cuba here and come just like this, and maybe even farther west like this. It's very possible as it rotates around this larger low pressure system. Could be good news for the Florida Keys and South Florida if this happens, because we will have a weaker Isaac as it passes through here. If it could get a little bounce off the coast and not go move that way and kind of get a little separation in here, then there's still that possibility of Isaac becoming a hurricane before passing through the Florida Keys here. So we're really going to have to watch through that. But if you look at this cloud mass here, it kind of looks like it's going to stay pretty close to the northern coast of Cuba here, and then finally get some separation. By then, though, it might not have enough time to really officially become a hurricane. It might be after it gets past the Florida Keys that it happens. So we're going to be watching that tonight. And again, if you're in a hurricane warned area there in South Florida and the Florida Keys, you definitely still want to be preparing and taking the necessary precautions. But I'm just trying to show you what is happening right now. Just moving in a little closer here as we zoom in, and there it is. There's the circulation center right along the northern coast here of Cuba. Infrared satellite again. You can just see how large this system is. And actually, this is pretty good for Isaac. If Isaac wants to strengthen, seeing, you know, all this convection and cloudiness and up ahead of it here, if it can gain some separation here across the northern Cuban coast, it'll definitely ramp up to a Category 1 hurricane as it approaches the Keys. But again, it might try to stay right along this coast of Cuba here and come out just like that. So we're definitely going to be watching for that. A little good news for the South Florida, Southeast Florida, and the Keys. But again, don't let your guard down at all. And then across the Caribbean here, we're just going to look at the overall flow here. Going to have a little bit of steering 101 here, exactly what's happening. So just bear with me here and I could kind of show you what's going on. Kind of what we have here, we have high pressure trying to nose in here. Let me just show you this bigger before we get to this. All right, let's look at the bigger here. Here's an area of low pressure that's moving up the east coast of eastern U.S. here coast, mid-Atlantic coast. Let me get my facts straight here. Initially, probably 3-4 days ago, we thought, hey, Isaac might take this kind of path and come follow this area of low pressure up the east coast. Go towards the eastern part, go through the Bahamas. Well, that didn't happen. Actually, Isaac kind of stayed weaker. It just didn't materialize there. So now this area of low pressure is moving away. High pressure is going to try to nose in here from the west. What that's going to try to do is swing Isaac out into the Gulf. Okay, now at the same time, we still have this little bit of weakness left. And then the finishing touches will be this area, this trough that's going to be coming down through the Great Lakes here. And you can see it's starting to come out of Canada. And that's going to try to give Isaac the final push away. So all of that's coming into play here. If you look at the steering currents, it'll kind of show you that. Here's our area of low pressure moving off the mid-Atlantic coast here. Here's our weakness right in here. Okay, so that's where it's going to try to follow. And then here's our dip that's going to come down in the jet stream just like this. So, you know, you would expect something like this. Now, you see the nose of this high pressure here as this low pressure moves away. How strong is this going to be moving into here? Is it going to be strong enough to give it a jump out this way and then it starts moving north, as some of the models are showing? Or is it going to not give it as much of a bump out to the west and then maybe more of like this kind of turn? So that's where the models are really trying to figure out how strong this high pressure ridge is going to be in here. And then again, we're going to watch our final punch down in here. So that's all the games that are in play here. It'll also depend on how strong Isaac gets here as it enters the southeastern Gulf. A much stronger Isaac may tend to move a little farther east, whereas a weaker Isaac may try to move a little farther west. So intensity and timing is all in a factor of where this eventual landfall is going to be. Somewhere, it's looking right now, across the western or central Florida panhandle. Okay? So that's what we have in play. And then we also have our another fly in the ointment, of course, as there has to be with this system, it seems to be, is our kind of bigger low pressure here and our little vorticity area of low pressure here between Jamaica and Cuba. That might throw a little monkey wrench in this forecast in the next 24 hours as well. So again, a lot in play. I hope you understood what's going on here. I just wanted to kind of show you. All right, let's get back here. Where were we? All right, so anyway, here's, again, the water vapor loop here in the Caribbean. Again, really can show you. If you look at these clouds out ahead of it, you almost could kind of see where Isaac's going to come right up this way. And then where does he go? Does he go this way? Does he get flung out a little farther west, then up? That's where a lot of the uncertainty lies. And that's where we're going in the forecast. Okay, let's get back to models. Everybody wants to see models real quickly here. Different shifts today in the models, of course. Even a bigger spread now than there was yesterday. GFS decided, well, we're going to go back west again. So there's operational moving near Mobile. And then we have the spread in the ensembles all the way from Louisiana to about Apalachicola. So GFS moved west. And guess what? Well, first let's go. I'm sorry here. Let us go to the euro. The euro decided, well, hey, GFS, you're going to go west. I'm going to come east. The operational euro is now near Apalachicola, and here's the ensembles. And the ensembles are all grouped together here, from about New Orleans to, almost to Cedar Key here. So this is kind of the area right in here where they're grouped up now. So euro went east, GFS went west. Go figure, right? But again, it's showing how strong that ridging is going to be in there. And that's where the uncertainty lies in the forecast. If you look back here, let's go back here. These are the a lot of the different models. We have HWRF, which came well east now through Apalachicola Bay. That one just seems off. It seems way too far east. Really ramped up Isaac. So I would kind of discount that right now, this eastern outlier. And again, I'm about here. Consensus is right in here. And the National Hurricane Center is still going with consensus here in the long term. UK Med is here. GFDL is here. And these are all situated between Pensacola, closer to Destin, the Panama City Destin area. Then we have this group here with a lot of the GFS ensemble models, the GFS, the Canadian, all back up on the western side here. Again, I'm not going as far west as this. National Hurricane Center tracks here, and I am east of the National Hurricane Center track near Apalachicola, still sticking with that forecast right now. Okay, so that's where we are with the models. Latest 18Z early runs have come out. Again, black line here is the official track. A lot of them are grouped right in here again. Again, this is near that Destin, Panama City area. My forecast is right about here. Okay, so that's where we are right now. Let's go back real quick to the official forecast track. And again, for South Florida, expect early Sunday conditions starting to go downhill. Expect Sunday, Monday tornado watches to go out here across South Florida and possibly up into Central Florida. We're going to be on the right side of this system. So this is where the tornado threat will be, and that could be the biggest factor here is tornadoes. South Florida right now, 50, 60 mile per hour winds, possible gust to hurricane force. Again, it's really going to depend on this eventual track here. For the Florida Keys, 55, 75, possible gust to 80, 90. Florida Keys, 1 to 3 foot above sea level, maybe 2 to 4 feet in some of the lower lying areas here as far as height above sea level. As far as the Tampa Bay area here, hard to say right now because we don't know how strong our system will be and the exact track. Some of the guesstimates right now are 5 to 7 feet above sea level, possibly 8 foot in some of the lower lying areas here. Again, that's really going to depend on how strong Isaac is out in here, so we really don't know that part yet. But anyway, that's pretty much where we're at tonight. I will have another update for you guys tomorrow morning. Stay safe out there.